What's up guys, welcome to another Julio Cooks video. For today's video we have something special. We're making the Cipriani Meringue cake. I know it looks beautiful. It is a tough process, it's not gonna be easy, it's gonna take a few hours of your life to make this, but once you make it, you will not regret a single step. Without further ado, let's grab all the ingredients to make this cake. Alright, to make the base of the cake, we are going to use 2 3/4 cups or 326 grams of unbleached cake flour. 1 2/3 cups of sugar or 333 grams of sugar. 1 tablespoon of baking powder. 12 tablespoons of butter. 2 egg whites and 3 large eggs. 1 cup of whole milk. And 1 vanilla bean or vanilla extract. First, we are going to start by taking the vanilla bean and cutting it in half. Just be careful with your fingers over here. Awesome. Now once we see that it's perfectly cut in half, we are going to add this to a saucepan with the milk together. We are going to heat the milk up for about 5 minutes. Make sure your milk does not boil, we just want to heat it up so that it's perfectly extracting the vanilla flavor. Let's take a large bowl, and in the large bowl we're going to add the flour first. And the sugar. Let's combine them well together. Now that everything is well combined, let's add the butter. Alright, let's mix it very well. Once the mixture looks like this, let's start adding the eggs. We're gonna add a little at the beginning. And then we're gonna continue by adding the rest. Once the butter looks like this, we are going to add in the milk that we heated up earlier and mix it really well. Do not throw away that vanilla bean because we're going to use it just shortly. Alright, let's put this aside for a little bit, and we're going to take the vanilla bean that we just prepared and we're going to scrape all the beans off. Take a knife and start scraping them from the top to the end. You don't have to throw this away, you can put this in your sugar and you'll have vanilla sugar. After we add the vanilla, let's start mixing it really well. Once the butter looks like this, our last step is to add the baking powder. Now that our butter is ready, let's put this aside and we're going to prepare the baking pans. In my scenario, I'm going to use 2 8-inch baking pans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom off. You can do it pretty easily with this model. And then take some parchment paper and fold it. Alright, fold it one more time. And one more time if it's possible. And now what we're trying to do by this is, if you go towards the middle of the pan, you have to cut it right over here to create a perfect circle. So I'm gonna mark this, take some scissors and cut it right over here. And now I have a perfectly round circle. Awesome. Put this right over here. To make this even better, I'm going to spray some butter on the sides of the pan. This will make it much easier to take off once it's baked. Now that we got our two baking pans, let's start pouring in the batter. I'm gonna pour 2/3 in one of the pan and 1/3 on the other one. Let's make sure we scrap everything off. And now our baking pans are ready. We're gonna flatten them a little bit by tapping them. Doing the same for this one. Now that our cakes are ready, we are going to bake them in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 to 40 minutes. The best way to tell if the cakes are ready or not is by looking at the top color, and we're looking for a golden brownish color. Once the cakes are done, this is how they should look. We should let them rest a little bit until they cool down to room temperature, and we're going to start preparing the next steps. To prepare the frosting, we are going to use 8 ounces of mascarpone cheese, 3 egg yolks, 1 cup of confectioner's sugar, 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and 1 vanilla bean. In a large bowl, let's combine together the sugar and the egg yolks. Mix them really well. Once you get this golden yellowish color, let's add in the cheese. Combine really well. Once everything is combined, let's start adding the heavy cream little by little. Once we're almost done, let's add in the vanilla beans. Alright, let's finalize it. Make sure to not overmix it because it will cause the frosting to curdle. The frosting is ready once it looks like this. Very creamy and fluffy. We're gonna put this in the fridge, and next we're gonna continue with assembling the cake. Let's get a moving board and let's prepare the first cake. As you can see, the parchment paper is very easy to peel off. Using a big knife, let's cut off the top part. Perfect. You can repurpose these by making cake pops. Next, we're going to flip this around and let's cut the bottom off. Make some small final fixes. And next we're also gonna cut all the brown parts around. since this was the 2/3 of the cake, I'm gonna cut this in half. Perfect. And we're gonna repeat the same process for the other part. Next, let's grab a spinning board and one of these cake holders. This one spins around, so it makes it easier for us to assemble the cake. First, we're going to add a little bit of frosting at the bottom so that our cake doesn't move. And then let's place our first layer. Make sure to put it in the center. Next, let's add some frosting. Make sure to spread it around. Just a little bit. Next, let's place the second layer. Add in some frosting as well. And make sure to spread it around. Next, we're going to place in our third and final layer and add the final frosting. Let's add some around as well. Prepare to get yourself a little mess in here. We don't need this to look too perfect because the meringue is going to cover all of it. Alright, now that our cake is ready, we're going to place this in the fridge and then prepare the meringue frosting. Before we start making the meringue, let's talk about the 3 different types of meringues that we can make. The first one is the French meringue, which is the basic one. The French meringue is prepared by beating the egg whites, and then once they're done, we just add the sugar, combine everything together, and we're done with it. This is the least stable version, so we don't want anything like that. The second version is the Swiss meringue, which is prepared by beating the egg whites over a bain-marie and then adding the sugar as well, which will make the sugar melt by the heat that's coming from the bain-marie. This is a little bit more stable, but it still doesn't have the stability that the third one has, which we're going to use for this recipe. The third meringue is the Italian one, and the way that we prepare this is by first preparing the simple syrup up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we're going to use that to beat the egg whites together. This is the most stable one, and these are all the ingredients that we need to make the Italian meringue. To make the meringue, we are going to use 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of water, half a lemon juice with 1 teaspoon of vinegar, and 8 egg whites in room temperature. In a saucepan, we're going to combine together the sugar and the water. We're going to put this to boil until our candy thermometer reaches 240 degrees Fahrenheit. While our simple syrup is preparing, let's mix together the egg whites with the lemon. Start mixing really well. Once our egg whites looks like this and they create stiff peaks, we're going to bring in the hot sugar and continue to mix it slowly, but be really careful because hot sugar is very dangerous. I'm going to start pouring little by little. At the end, the meringue should look like this. Let's put this aside and let's grab the cake. Let's bring in the carousel again and put the cake on top. Using a spatula, let's put the meringue on top and start spreading it around. I'm gonna add some more meringue on the top. Next, using your fingers, start removing the excessive meringue on the bottom. For our final preparation step, we're going to use a torch to torch the cake. And this is how we make the Cipriani meringue cake. Now that we're done, it's finally time to cut a beautiful piece of this cake. Thank you everyone for watching. I really hope you liked this video, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.